My name is Gina. I'm one of the assistant directors here at undergraduate admissions at Pacific University. I want to welcome you to our next session of Lunch with the Boxer series. Today we have Outdoor Pursuits here to talk a little bit about their program and some updates on the Voyages programs as well. And so before we get started, and before I introduce everybody, if we can ensure that your first and last name is reflected. So if you have any questions that you want to add in, we can ensure that we follow up with the correct person if we can't get to it today. If you want to also add in any questions that you have during the session, you don't have to wait until the end of the presentation. I'll go ahead and kind of filter through those questions. You can add them in the chat bubble box below. If you hover over into the bottom of your screen, just go ahead and hit chat and enter in your question. You can have the question sent out so everybody can see, or if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, you can also privately message me, and I'm sure to read those questions out loud for you as well. If you guys can kind of go with that. And before anything else, let's go ahead and introduce Justin. And I know we have a couple of guests today as well too. So Justin, how are you? I'm gonna unmute you, Justin. Hold on. Let's see if we can.
That was classic me. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to meet everybody virtually.
Awesome. And I'm also going to go ahead and invite our, I know we have a couple of students here as well.
Yep. We have Kira Yap and Grant McCleskey. They are our 2020 Voyage coordinators and Outdoor Pursuit staff as well.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for your time and coming in today. Justin, if you want to go ahead, I know you have a presentation, so we can hop into the presentation and kind of go from there. Did you want to do the video first, or did you want to? Awesome. So we've got a great video to share with you. You should be able to share that screen, Justin. Let me know if you have any.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Gina, and welcome everybody again to our Outdoor Pursuits presentation here at Pacific University. Just give me a moment. Before I dive in, I want to share a video with y'all, a short video. And I've only done this a few times, so let's see if this works. Now y'all should be able to see my screen. And then I'm gonna put this on full screen. How's that, Gina?
Looks good, Justin.
All right.
Outdoor leaders discover happiness in many different forms. And the more work they put in, the greater the happiness they get out of the experiences. Those outdoor leaders that are willing to be resilient, vulnerable, and willing to grow discover happiness that lasts a lifetime.
Happiness is surpassing your preconceived limits,
reaching the top of a climb,
resting your feet after miles of hiking,
good food after a long, challenging day,
sharing stories around the campfire,
hiking on a moonlit trail.
Happiness is being a part of an inclusive and supportive community.
Explore the Northwest and explore the world through outdoor adventure.
All right. So that was just part one, a little snippet of our Outdoor Pursuits program. And now I'm loading up a presentation here. Thank you for watching that. How'd that go? Did everybody, Gina, were you able to hear that?
Yeah, the sound and everything. Great. Thank you.
Great. Yep. So a little video to start this off to kind of get you stoked for what we do here. Outdoor Pursuits is super unique program here at Pacific University, and we encourage everybody to participate. It essentially oversees three different areas: our normal Outdoor Pursuits program, where we have an open enrollment outdoor trips for the fall, winter, and spring semesters, and even a little bit of summer programming as well. And then we oversee an outdoor leadership minor, which any student any undergraduate student can basically sign up for. And either minor, it's around 24 credits in outdoor leadership, or take part of some of the classes within that minor without having to finish the entire minor. So there's a lot of classes outdoor classes for credit opportunities that exist, and then the Voyages pre-orientation program, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay, so let's talk about the Outdoor Pursuits program. It's a student-led outdoor adventure program that aims to serve our student body. Both undergraduate and graduate students can participate, faculty and staff can participate, and community members in Forest Grove and the Portland area can participate as well. We have about 20 undergraduate student staff. We also hire 1 or 2 graduate students to help us out. Our student staff lead trips, they answer phones, they do all the administrative work, they help out with rentals, and there's about 20 of them, and then 2 administrative staff, myself included. So I'm the assistant director, and Phil Friesen is the director of Outdoor Pursuits. We offer to our students significantly discounted outdoor trips, both day and overnight trips, for a variety of trip types. So no experience is necessary to be involved in our program. And I'll show you some photos of kind of introducing the trips that we do in just a second. But no experience is necessary, and there's something out there for everybody. We also provide outdoor rental equipment. So if you're interested in going on an outdoor trip but want to do it on your own and don't have the necessary equipment, we have a huge inventory of items that you can rent for a discounted price, again, to students. That anywhere from camping gear to surfboards to bikes and climbing equipment. That's just at your fingertips to use in the Pacific Northwest here. So we are located just adjacent in the Forest Grove campus, really close to Marsh Hall, right across the lawn exactly, in a really central spot in Forest Grove. So you can see my mouse, we're hovered right around here. And this is the main Pacific University campus. So we're on the corner of 21st Avenue, really close to Main Street. And we have an awesome presence in the Forest Grove community and in the Pacific University campus. It's really easy for folks to walk past and into our office. Our office is known as the Milky Way building, formerly the Creamery. It used to be a place where they used to make and sell cream and milk for the locals here. But let's get into the trips that we offer. Like I said, in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, and slightly in the summertime too, we offer our students, staff and faculty, and community members an assortment of hiking types of trips. This picture is taken at in the Oregon coast at Oswald West State Park, where we have a group of student-led folks checking out. I forgot what the point's called, but they're overlooking an awesome surfing beach called Surf Short Sands. We also do rafting trips. We have a fleet of rafts and our own equipment, and our student leaders, if they go through the training curriculum, can get to the point where they actually lead these trips. So you yourself can be a participant on a rafting trip, both single and multi-day, but also work up to the point where you're leading and guiding your fellow students down this trip. This picture was taken on the North Umpqua River during our raft series. So an example of this trip, we have various series style trips. We have a beginner series for hiking and campers who just want to get into the outdoors and get a little bit more familiar. In this case, we have a raft series. It's a 5-day progression where people learn all the basics about rafting and then get behind the guide stick and start getting into the field and doing a few different days of rafting, including an overnight trip. So this is an awesome aerial shot from one of those trips. This is a classic surfing shot from our surf trips. We do surf trips for Outdoor Pursuits. We do surf trips academically, and we do surf trips for Voyages. So we love surfing here on the Oregon coast. It sounds cold, but it's not that bad. And there's tons of different types of surfing for everybody, from beginners to advanced surfers. And then we have an awesome rock climbing program where we partner with Planet Granite and the Circuit Bouldering Gym. And we do various weekly or academic style rock climbing trips to these gyms. And then about once or twice a semester, we make a trip out to Smith Rock State Park, which is a rock climbing mecca. It's a gem. If you haven't been there, it's in Central Oregon. And it's an amazing place to take your gym skills and progression of rock climbing into one of the most beautiful places in Oregon at Smith Rock and actually apply it there. We do cross-country skiing, snowshoeing in the wintertime. Sometimes we do mountaineering or winter camping then as well, but this is just an awesome shot of taking advantage of Mount Hood during the winter. And then on spring break, we do multi-day trips. So we do a 7 to 9 day backpacking trip in Utah, in the desert sandstone areas of Utah. This is Canyonlands National Park. And then at the same time, there's a separate group that does a 9-day rafting trip on the Green River down Desolation Great Canyon. So all student-led, super fun, and taking advantage of going to these amazing places when we have the time. This is another photo of just another type of trip that we do, canoe trip. This one's in the Deschutes National Forest, somewhere in the alpine lakes of Central Oregon. They're practicing some canoe rescue skills right now. Okay, so what I was just talking about was our outdoor pursuits programming for open enrollment. Means anybody can sign up for those trips. Now I'd like to talk about what Outdoor Pursuits also oversees is the minor. The minor is around 24 credits, kind of depending on how you navigate it. And you basically develop transferable and concrete leadership skills that you can use towards the outdoor industry, but it just prepares you for life and leadership skills for basically any industry that you find yourself getting into after college. So you learn about environmental stewardship, sustainability. You serve a diverse population, not only our students, but potentially community members and your peer groups. And the coolest thing is that you just gain multidisciplinary skill sets, whether that's rock climbing, raft guiding, sea kayaking, whitewater kayaking, backpacking, canoeing, the list goes on. And then just you gain more confidence in learning those technical skill sets, so you can eventually do this on your own as well in the wilderness. So this is a photo of one of our classes getting snowed on. Looks like they're trying to light a stove to cook some dinner. So this fall, I encourage you to sign up for some of the classes that lie within the outdoor leadership minor. You don't have to take these classes. I'm sorry, you don't have to minor in order to take these classes. These classes are basically open to first-year students. And then from here, you can continue to decide if you'd like to take the minor, you can go that route. But what we're offering this fall is Intro to Outdoor Recreation. It's a 10-week class, and you get 1 credit out of it. There's a couple of field opportunities where we go hiking and then do an overnight style camping trip or sea kayaking trip. We have Intro to Rock Climbing, where we focus in-house and in the gyms, and then we eventually do a trip out to Smith Rock. And then Intro to Kayaking, where we learn all sorts of information about paddling skills. We have 4 different pool sessions in the Forest Grove Community Pool, and then we take that into the bays near Tillamook or onto a whitewater scenario like on the Wilson River. So there's opportunity for sea kayaking and whitewater kayaking in that class as well. Again, for all these, there's no experience necessary, and we encourage folks to challenge themselves and jump into these classes just to get outside and breathe some fresh air. We've been cooped in a lot the past few months, haven't we? So winter and spring classes, some highlights that the minor brings is the past couple of years we've done a Mexico expedition, Mexico rafting expedition, which takes place in January term. And then we're planning to do a Bolivia mountaineering and cultural expedition within the next couple of years. I was supposed to be leaving tomorrow to scout for this trip, but that got delayed a year. So hopefully we'll get the Bolivia expedition on the syllabus and on the schedule for 2022. But we do annually a Trinity Alps expedition for our minors, for our graduating students who are minoring. And then we have a Wilderness First Responder certification that anybody can take part of. It's a 80-hour course, and it's an upper level Wilderness First Aid. It's Wilderness First Responder, a little bit more beefier than Wilderness First Aid, and that happens in January. And then we have international expedition planning, which prepares us for those international trips to Bolivia or Mexico. So there's all these really cool opportunities that students can take a part of. You don't necessarily have to minor to go to these international trips, but it's something that a route that you can definitely think about taking. So here's some photos from some of our trips within our minor. This is outdoor recreation students, so the Hyper 157 course, just learning how to basically set up a group tarp that you can sleep under or cook under and use as a kitchen if it rains. You can see they're still in their kayaking gear, trying to get warm, set up camp. This picture is from the Mexico expedition. I think Kira on this line is actually in the front of the boat there. Beautiful photos going on there. And then we got, this looks like our outdoor leadership theory and practice course. So a second year outdoor leadership minors warming up their hands because it's a little snowy out. This is the kayaking class, just got done with a run on the North Santiam River. Super excited that everybody made it down. Nice and fun and splashy. People warming up their hands with a nice cup of tea, it looks like there. And then just a nice quote from one of our minor students, Ariel, who's graduating this year, or who has just graduated this year. Basically said that the minor has helped create lasting relationships with people that share the same love for the land as she does. It helps to push her past preconceived limits in order to realize her potential mental and physical strength. So that's what we really truly like to do in this minor is, and outdoor pursuits in general, is make people aware that there are preconceived limits and try and push themselves and challenge themselves to get past these preconceived limits and notions and make people realize they're more capable of doing things in the outdoors and in society than they thought they were originally capable of doing. Great. So we've talked about outdoor pursuits. We've talked about the outdoor leadership minor, and the third thing that OP, or outdoor pursuits, kind of oversees is the Voyages pre-orientation program. And this is the gem. This is where we develop like community, bond, and lasting memories from the start. And this is something that Kira, Grant, and myself have been working on since October of last year for this August. So Voyages pre-orientation trips are for freshmen and transfer students, and they're 5-day trips in length. And this year they're happening from August 22 to the 26th, right? And they take place right before Pacific University's general orientation starts. So you go on this trip. Once you get back the next day, orientation starts for Pacific, and then classes start right after that. So it's a really cool way to just dive in, meet friends, build a community, build some self-confidence, make memories, and get outside before you start your semester here. And it's a great way to transition into the Pacific community. There are 8 different trips to choose from traditionally. Some of the things that we've done in the past and that we have kind of lined up for this year is beginner and intermediate backpacking trip in the Umpqua National Forest. We have a new local adventure where we're going to do awesome activities within an hour and a half drive from Forest Grove here, whether that's surfing, checking out the beach, stand-up paddle boarding on Hag Lake, bicycling. So that's an exciting one. We usually do an urban adventure where folks hang out in Portland for 5 days and check out the food carts, go see a soccer game, so on and so forth. There's an awesome sea kayaking adventure in the Puget Sound, whitewater rafting trip multi-day down the Deschutes River, a surfing trip on the Oregon coast, multi-element adventures that include climbing, rock climbing, and hiking and floating down a river in inner tubes in Leavenworth, Washington, or outside of Leavenworth, Washington, in the Cascades. And then a backpack canoe trip, which folks spend a couple days backpacking and then they transition into canoeing either in the central Oregon Alpine Lakes or down the upper Deschutes River, which is a really cool, really remote trip as well. So those are the trips we normally do. Looks like a photo accidentally got deleted there. But basically, you can take it from this quote here, or just from students who come out of these programs, or from Voyages programs, it's one of the things that solidifies their friendships at the start of their career. And I'll have Kieran and Grant attest to that in just a second. And folks who don't end up participating in Voyages regret it 4 years later. They always tell me, I wish I participated in Voyages before I started at Pacific. So this is a photo from the multi-element voyage near Leavenworth. You can see this awesome alpine lake in the Cascades. This is a photo going through the rose gardens for the urban adventure. This is a sea kayaking group setting up camp somewhere along their route. This is the whitewater rafting voyage, just navigating down the Deschutes River. I believe this rapid is called White Horse Rapids. And then this was taken last year from Grant's surf voyage. Grant, who's a coordinator now, led the surf voyage, and they're just enjoying the sunset near Cape Lookout State Park. So I bet you're wondering what's happening in Voyages this year, 2020. If you signed up or registered or thinking about participating, I am too. And I just want you to know that we are working on it and trying to plan for contingencies in the safest trip possible. So obviously your safety as a participant in Voyages is number one, and our decisions stem off that first goal. We are following every day federal, Oregon, and Washington state guidelines, our Washington County here in Oregon, their guidelines, and using these to guide our programming decisions, so on and so forth. So we're considering things like limiting the trip sizes or the trip types to better adhere to social distancing practices, having PPE measures and like a COVID-19 management policy and plan that's specific to our trips that we'll have in place. And then in the event that a specific trip needs to get canceled, for example, there are a lot of unknowns currently. Oregon beaches are still closed and state parks are still closed in a lot of areas, which is where we camp and where we operate. So we're going to do our best to hold tight, potentially offer a similar trip if that trip doesn't actually go, and we'll all get through this together. But there are some challenges that we're working through, like how do we transport people? How do we navigate around those public land closures? Sleeping and cooking arrangements are also a big one that we're trying to work on. And then activities that require close contact, like rafting, when you're swimming, you're helping people in and really being intimate and close with each other. Those present some challenges that we're working through. So we hope to provide more concrete answers by the end of June. I'm really optimistic. The state of Oregon and the state of Washington are coming up with great outfitter guiding guidelines for how to operate as a deliverer of these programs. And we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm hoping we'll have a more concrete answer for you guys by the end of June. I know it's been tough to sit and wait and just kind of twiddle our thumbs and seeing this thing out. But we're working on it, and we've got a lot of interested folks, and we are so excited by the amount of interest and folks who have registered so far. We have a few spots left, so you can go onto our website and register if you're still interested. So that's it. I talked about Outdoor Pursuits as a program. I talked about the Outdoor Leadership Minor, and I talked about Voyages and where we're kind of at currently trying to navigate COVID-19. And Gina, that's what I got. Here's our contact information, and check out our Instagram and Facebook, both for Outdoor Pursuits and Voyages.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. That was so great. I love seeing all the pictures, and I almost forgot what it was like to be outdoors. It's been so long.
Yeah,
right. So we definitely appreciate that. And I know you had mentioned that Grant and Kira is here. I'm actually going to rope them in. Can you guys tell me a little bit about kind of what your experience was like as a student when you guys first came? And did you guys go on Voyages, and how was that for you?
So yeah, coming in the freshman year, I was really nervous, and I decided to go on a voyage. Going into college was kind of scary because you don't know anyone. And I went on the surf voyage my freshman year, and through that, I was able to meet friends that I still have today going into my junior year. And it was just like a great way to like ease the nerve going into college while having a great time doing whatever activity that you sign up for.
Awesome. Kira, did you want to share your experience a little?
So, I did not go on a voyage. And it has truly been something that I wish I had done. Being a voyage coordinator, of course, I'm trying to get my fill of voyages at the moment. But my freshman year, like during orientation, I was like, oh, like with my pod of people that were around me, a lot of them knew other people and had already made these great connections with other people prior to coming into orientation, which is such an awkward experience, honestly. But was something that I wish I had done in freshman year.
Kira, can you maybe shed a little light on your role here at Outdoor Pursuits?
At Outdoor Pursuits, I am a operations coordinator. I do a lot of work with spreadsheets and organizing and booking rooms and vans for our trips. As the trip leader, I got my start up in our rafting program. I went on one rafting trip and I was roped in, and I got the opportunity to guide on that trip and really explore like really the most beautiful places of Oregon. And because of that, I've gotten to go to on the international expedition to Chiapas, which was absolutely gorgeous and amazing, and I've learned so much from in a boat. Like you just learn so much from an inflatable piece of plastic. It's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a few questions that popped in, and the first one is, when does my child find out what voyage they're participating in? Can somebody go over the registration process and how that works?
Yeah, so I can answer that, and then Kira and Grant can chime in if they like. But we're hoping to communicate people's trip placement by the end of June. And thank you so much for your patience. People are still trickling in, and the way we place people, we don't only tend to place people first come first serve. We want to make sure that each trip has an kind of equal spread of folks, and we do collect folks' top 3 choices and hope and do our best to place folks within those top 3 choices. But we're working on communicating that by the end of June, and we're also taking COVID-19 measures into account when we communicate that. So that's why it's been a little bit. We're still figuring a few things out logistically, and then we'll have that information your way soon. Yeah, June's almost. It's just in a couple of days, isn't it?
It is. I don't know what happened to April and May, so time is flying. So June is just around the corner. So like Justin said, we're just waiting on a few updates. We definitely have your students' safety as our number one priority, and we're going to definitely follow kind of some of the measures put in place by the government and the state as well. So we want to make sure that everything is all safe and ready to go. The next question is transportation provided from campus to the voyage site for the students? How does transportation look like?
Yes. So traditionally, transportation, food, everything is provided from the day that Voyages starts up until they return from campus. Even a dinner before that, we usually have a welcome dinner on, I believe it's the 21st scheduled for this year, where we have voyage participants and families come. Now, last year, over 200 people came. That will probably not be a reality this year due to social distancing measures. So we're trying to re-logisticize how the kind of day zero works when people arrive, so we can stagger groups and keep groups to a minimum number. And those plans are still being kind of thought out. A lot of it depends where Oregon's at, whether we're in phase 0 still, phase 1, or phase 2 of our reopening. And but then, yes, from day 1 of the trip to day 5 of the trip, transportation, food, everything is provided. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have to get creative and see what state and local officials recommend, other professional and what other groups are doing to be creative on how to transport people safely. On one hand, Voyages is such an important and unique and amazing experience that, I mean, we've been cooped up for months, right, in our house, and it's just like we have to get outside, we have to socialize with each other. And then on the other hand, we don't want to put people in any more risk than they already are, and we want to do our best to mitigate that risk. So we're still trying to weigh the pros and cons and make a solid decision that mitigates these risks, and transportation is one of those big questions right now.
And a question that I have for you guys. So when there are updates, how will the students be notified? Will the parents be notified as well, or is it going to be on the onus going to be on the student to update family about
Things look pretty.
So
The numbers look good.
So for Voyages, hold on.
I mean, they're not high. Like they're not.
I'm just unmuted. All right. So the numbers. All right. I just completely got blindsided. The question was, how are people going to get notified?
Yeah, communicating any updates.
Updates. So yeah, we're trying to tackle that through a variety of angles. I'm sending a personal email really soon. I've drafted it already to registered Voyages participants.
Okay.
And that will go to the email that they provided upon registration. Okay. We also will be updating our website as soon as we have more information to provide. So check our website, especially the registration page of our Voyages website. It's basically pacificu.edu/Voyages. And then from there, you can navigate to the registration page, and we'll do our best to update things there. But personal emails to your to the email provided upon registration, and then our website, our Voyages website. And in addition, we're planning to send a newsletter pretty soon that has some updates as well.
Awesome. So I know that handoff can be a little bit fuzzy in the summertime. When admissions office, we communicate with parents and students, and once they start matriculating onto campus, that communication with parent piece, usually now that your student is considered an adult on campus, parents might not get that communication. So thank you for clarifying that, Justin. The other question is, if for some reason Voyages doesn't happen or is severely altered, is there a way for families to get a refund if they decide maybe like they don't really want to go on this voyage trip and maybe matriculate straight into a regular orientation rather than coming
Definitely.
Here?
Yeah, definitely, Gina. That's a great question, and I know people are concerned about that. We are not going to, and we don't usually do this in the past. We don't charge people for Voyages trips until they've actually happened. So what we traditionally do is charge student accounts in early September after the Voyages trips happen. So we don't require any fees or payment in advance. We don't collect credit card information. Once the student is enrolled and registered, and Voyages has happened, that's when we charge student accounts. And the prices for these trip fees, or the prices for these trips, are listed on our website as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, one other thing, Gina, there is still opportunity for a discounted voyage trip. There's a few different avenues, and we do provide financial discount for voyage trips, which can be found on our website.
Awesome. That'd be very helpful. I know a lot of families have been affected by the COVID and a lot of reduction in hours and salary. So that's definitely going to be helpful for them. So again, can you reiterate where they can go to find that information?
Yep. Just pacificu.edu/Voyages. And then from there, there's registration information, financial discount information, and so on and so forth.
Perfect. Thank you. And the next question that I have was a little bit about orientation. So do students move into their dorms before they go to Voyages, or do they need to have their stuff stored somewhere before they can move onto campus? How does that process work with move-in and orientation?
Grant, can you answer that?
Yeah, so we have like a little you kind of have like a check-in the day before Voyages start. You check in, you get your like ID card, your mail key, everything, and you actually move into your dorm that day. And then the day after that you move in and you have that check-in process is when we actually start the Voyages. And on that check-in day, we also have like the dinner and like pre-trip meetings, making sure that you're getting all the right gear that you need for all the trips and so on.
Perfect. And to follow up with that, parent orientation. So the parents drop off their student and they have to come back for the full orientation for parent session, or will there be one beforehand so they don't have to come back? How does that look?
I can answer that, Grant. So traditionally, like Grant said, when folks come on day 0, which is the Friday the 21st, they move in, and it's a really busy day. They just throw all their stuff in the dorms. You don't really have time to decorate or anything.
Yeah.
And then once students and parents split, students will go to their individual Voyages teams or groups and kind of do that pre-trip meeting like Grant was saying, and kind of get outfitted with gear and get their sizing figured out. And then parents usually go into a separate orientation while that is happening with their students. So parents will go to an orientation so that they don't have to come back during the actual Pacific University orientation and attend the same thing. They have their own kind of orientation that same day once they drop their students off.
Perfect. Thank you. I know that was a confusion for a lot of parents.
Yeah.
What would you say is probably like the favorite trip or the popular trip that have been kind of filling up, or every year maybe students are really excited about? Can you share a little bit about that?
I can't answer that because I think they're all awesome. They cater to a diverse range of needs and likes, and there's something for for example, our urban and local trips are super adventurous, but they're also super friendly to people that don't like to sleep in the wilderness where bugs are crawling everywhere, and they may want to explore what's happening in the backyard of Pacific University and get to know the area a little better, versus something that's a little more remote, like the rafting trip or the backpack canoe trip, where you're truly in wilderness for 5 days and you're self-sufficient, carrying all your equipment with you. It's just different experiences for everybody, and it depends what they're looking for.
Awesome. And I know Voyages, all the gear like transportation is going to be provided. Are there any suggested items that they should bring? So for example, I know we have a lot of families from Hawaii. I also have my other territory that I recruit from is Southern California. So 50, 60 degree weather at night, well, for us is pretty cool. For others, it might be more winter. So are there
Great question.
Gear or items that they should be bringing?
Great question. So group gear and big ticket items are usually provided at free of cost. It comes in, it's part of your voyage fee. It's part of your voyage trip cost. There are specific pieces of gear, though, I want to be clear, depending on the trip, like a sleeping bag or rain pants that you got to provide yourself, or you can rent from Outdoor Pursuits. You can rent from us at very little cost. So especially for a 5-day trip. When you register, you'll see a link that goes to a different survey that is basically asks you to fill out part of your med form and a gear rental sheet. And when you fill out that gear rental sheet, it asks for your sizing, and then there's 2 different segments within that gear rental survey that talks about what gear is provided and then what gear you might need to rent. That said, when we do send out our official communication before the end of June, you'll receive a pre-trip packet, which is like a 3 or 4 page packet that Grant and Kira have been working on that details exactly what to expect for your specific trip. So it will announce what trip you've been placed on. It'll announce the details of who your leaders are and potentially what faculty member is joining you. It'll announce a slight overview of the itinerary, and it will announce a trip packing list that has all the individual items that you're going to be expected or asked to bring. And then it'll have an asterisk of what's provided by the program and then what you can choose to rent on top of that if need be.
Perfect. So there was a question that came in. So backpacking, they can rent backpacks. All of that is available. They don't have to purchase or bring their own. Is that correct?
Yep. The backpacking trip, backpacks come with the trip. But we don't provide like your wool socks, for example. You're gonna have to bring that. So we do our best to accommodate people with gear. We do our best to be able to rent people specific, really unique items if need be. And like I said, we do try and do a little work ahead of time to get your sizing. So if you've registered and haven't filled out that form, you can click a link on our registration website to fill out your medical and gear rental form.
So it sounds like there are a few documents that need to be filled out before they come. Can you go over what those documents are, and do they have to bring anything in person physically when they're here on campus that they might leave behind? Is there anything that they must have in terms of in hand when they're here in person?
Yeah, so our goal is by the time students show up, they don't have to bring any documents or sign anything. Our goal is to do everything electronically, and it starts with registering. So you can register for Voyages by going to our website, pacificu.edu/voyages, and then scroll down to the registration page, and there's a big red button that says register. And then within your confirmation email of that registration, and within our registration site online, it'll have steps on what to do next. And part of those steps is filling out that medical that medical form and gear rental sheet, which gets your sizes. And then the communication in the end of June, in addition to your trip placement, in addition to all that gear information that you're going to need and packing list, and an update on our voyage contingency plans, you will get the last piece of basically paperwork to do, which is a code of conduct and a waiver/release form, which we'll be able to do online.
Perfect. And I think we're winding down on some of the questions here. This last one that came up, is OP able to make accommodations for people with disabilities, or if there are certain medications that need to be taken for students, how does all of that work, and are we able to accommodate that?
That's a great question. And I'm currently working on a draft of essential eligibility criteria, which once that's finished, it will be very transparent on for everybody participating on the trip, what abilities are necessary to participate in that specific trip. We are offering trips like the local adventure and urban adventure, and potentially even the surfing voyage, to invite people of all abilities and to apply and work with us one-on-one on that on a per case basis on what we can do to accommodate their disability. Now, we partner. We're not set up for an adaptive style program, but we do have a local partner called Adventure Without Limits, who can help us and partner with us to get folks with specific and certain disabilities in the field with us. So there's always an opportunity, and I encourage, if folks have disabilities that want to come on our trips, reach out to us, and we'll work with you one-on-one on how to get you outside and on these trips.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I had no clue that we worked with an organization such as that. So that's so great to hear.
It's really special.
Yeah, that's really encouraging too. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions that popped up. Were there any last minute things that maybe Justin, Grant, or Kira, if you guys wanted to add on before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you so much for showing up and for your questions and for your patience as we all try to navigate how to plan and coordinate for not only Voyages, but for the fall semester, and putting your trust in us. And we really look forward to meeting you in person this fall.
Yes, we're super excited. Grant and Kira, do you guys have any advice for our incoming students? It's kind of been a weird year. They missed out on their senior graduation, and now they're on this whole new milestone of college. And for some students, it's just across the street, and for others, it's clear cross country. So any advice, words of advice that you can give to these students?
Yeah, a lot of upperclassmen that I've talked to throughout my journey here at Pacific, they had mentioned, like, I never gone on, I always wanted to. That's always like a really biggest regret of students. So I encourage you to encourage your child or yourself, like, go on an outdoor pursuits trips. We even offer free trips sometimes. So those are really amazing ones to hop on. You won't regret it.
Awesome. Grant?
Oh yeah, I was just wanting to say, like, during the school year, it can get stressful with all this like homework and stuff, and it's really nice to just like get outside to alleviate some stress and just have fun and not even think about homework or tests or whatever. It's a really nice way to like decompress and just like have a good time, especially like with and meeting new people, connecting with people. And it's just amazing, like getting outside, either through like the outdoor leadership minor, Voyages, or like outdoor pursuits trips.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you and your time. And hopefully, can't wait to see you guys in the fall time, honestly. It sounds like a lot of exciting things are going to be happening. We are going to send out a recording of this session, probably in the email that's going to be following either today or tomorrow, so you can view it again. Again, pacificu.edu/voyages is the website to go to for all that information. And I know outdoor, is it Outdoor Pursuits or is it outdoor@pacificu.edu for email? Oh, I think Justin is muted.
It's outdoors at pacificu.edu.
Perfect. Outdoors@pacificu.edu. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And once again, we are on social media, so we ask that if you want to follow, go ahead and follow. Here are some of the outlets that we use. We also have a podcast that we're super excited about, so we want to share that. We have a series of admissions counselors that are popping up as well. But other than that, we want to say thank you so much for your time. Oops, there it is. And thank you for joining us again, and have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, guys.